Hello and welcome to another one video. Why is the color blue so rare in nature, especially the plant kingdom? Blue is rare in nature because compounds that absorb in the requisite range of electromagnetic spectrum are extremely rare and difficult to produce biologically. Most chemicals in nature absorb in the ultraviolet range, which consists of those wavelengths shorter than visible light but longer than about 1 nanometer. Shorter than 1 nanometer electromagnetic radiation is X-rays, which are far shorter than any chemical absorbs. In order to obtain chemicals that absorb in the visible and hence are colored, we need to either conjugate bonds, pronounced pi bonds, between carbon, oxygen and nitrogen to a sufficient extent as to delocalize these electrons to absorb in the visible range, or incorporate transition metals whose compounds naturally absorb in the visible due to magnetic field splitting of coordinate bonds with electronegative elements. Transition metals can also distort the electric fields on non-transition elements compounds to create colored gemstones. Option 2 is very difficult because most of the later transition metals are uniquely rare within the Earth's crust and mantle since they are geochemically siderophile. Siderophile elements have almost no affinity for oxygen in the most extreme case. Oxides of gold are thermodynamically unstable with respect to gold and oxygen and hence occur in nature in the form of metallic bonds with iron. Consequently, almost the entire Earth budget of siderophile elements occurs within the inaccessible core. The earlier transition metals are very abundant in the Earth's crust as they form powerful bonds with oxygen and are therefore lithophile. However, these abundant transition elements generally use all their s and d electrons in these bonds, producing colorless compounds, except when modified by coordination. Moreover, most compounds of these elements are highly insoluble in water. Some elements of the early transition groups are also toxic. Option 1, whilst easier, is also difficult. Because most compounds absorb in the ultraviolet, the easiest parts of the visible spectrum to achieve an absorption are those closest to the ultraviolet violet, indigo and blue. However, absorbing light of a given color means that the compound will appear as the complementary color. To achieve a blue compound, we require a compound that absorbs orange light, orange being complementary to blue. However, orange light is of relatively long wavelengths, and for this reason, extremely large networks of conjugated multiple bonds between carbon, oxygen and nitrogen are required to achieve a blue color in non-transition element compounds. The number of pairs of conjugated carbon-carbon double and single bonds required to produce a blue color in simple polyenes is not known, but is certainly 20 or more. Conjugation with other functional groups still requires extensive networks to produce a blue color, although this method stands much more practicable both in biology and in industrial synthesis. Therefore, compounds that absorb in the orange range are difficult for plants or animals to synthesize and hence very rare. This is especially true given that there is no special biological incentive to synthesize them to attract pollinators or to repel herbivores or predators. The consequence is that almost no animals and only a small number of flowers are colored blue. In fact, all but one of the numerous species of birds and butterflies that appear blue to the human eye appear blue not because of blue pigments, but because of Rayleigh scattering of what would be expected to be a black color. The absence of blue objects has meant that words for the color we know as blue are absent from all documented ancient languages, except those of Egypt, where lapis lazuli was mined and used as a stone to ornate pharaohs' tombs. In later years, the color blue came to symbolize royalty, though not to the same extent as purple and of the divine. This changed only when organic chemistry discovered means of producing synthetic blue anthraquinone and azo dyes and to synthesize the very few natural blue dyes like indigo. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe the video.